The greatest of our battles are not with the world outside, but with the ones at home, the ones we love the most. Why is it that we fight the biggest battles at home and not outside with strangers? Why is it that we struggle so much to explain something to someone who means so much to us, while we don't have to struggle that much with anyone outside? Well, here's the tip that we're going to talk about for today. What is it that makes a relationship last, and what is it that we may be unconsciously doing that may be hampering our relationships more than helping? Well, what is the fundamental essence in a relationship? Love, isn't it? Naturally. When you talk of a relationship, the ingredient that it takes to make a relationship is love. Well, but there is one other thing that goes along with it now, which is not a great combination. It's like certain foods don't go with certain other foods. Likewise, relationships, when you have love, it doesn't go very well with the other thing. The other thing I'm referring to is power. Nowadays, we find that relationships are increasingly more about power than love, and that has lots of counterproductive effects for us. If you are thinking, no, I'm not the kind of one who has anything to do with power, I'm just loving, ask yourself these questions. Do you tell people what they should do? Are you upset with people if they don't do what you think they should be doing? Do you try to control or tell people that they should and should not be doing these things? If so, you're in the game. Well, you may have reasons for it. You may say, but I do it out of love. It doesn't matter why you do what you do. But the fact is, when we are thinking of controlling another person, there is power struggle involved. Imagine a mother who tries to tell her son not to watch so much of TV or not to play too much of video games or get off the gadgets. Now the mother is telling the son for his own good. But if the mother tries to control, saying, I'm going to take away your phone, I'm not going to give you this, I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to do this unless you do this. If you start getting into these kind of power games, now the relationship is operating outside of love and more about power. Now what happens with power is it only works short term, till the time you have the power. The minute the other person becomes more powerful than you, your game is lost. They're not going to listen to you anymore. All these years you thought you were holding people because of your love, and suddenly when you lose power you realize you've lost people too. Why is that? That's because the relationship was primarily surviving on power, and the minute the other person has realized that they are more powerful than you, or they realize they do not want to succumb to your power, they've decided to go away, they've decided to not listen, they've decided to absolutely rebel against the very things that you want them to listen to. Now this is what happens in power. Power is a very, very short-term effect. It does not work in the long run. And that's why now we need to fill our relationships with more love and much less of power. So how do we make this transition? Now imagine you want to tell your son not to do this or not to do that. Educate the child. You can't dictate terms. You have to educate, saying what will happen if they do this, what will happen if they do it. Doesn't matter if it's a child or an adult or anyone in the relationship. Always try and educate the other person about why you're trying to tell them, what is the benefit of it, and what are the consequences should they choose to continue with that. Now, once you've educated the other person, trust that they will make the best choice. Sometimes it hurts us, sometimes we may be afraid, we might rub in our own fears. For example, if let's say your son or daughter want to take up something in films or something in design, and you feel no, engineering is more secure, I don't know if they're going to make enough money with this. So out of fear, you might just control them and say, no, I'm paying the money for your college education, which means you have to do what I tell you to do. Now someone who wanted to be a journalist or a designer is forcibly made to become an engineer. Do you think they're going to be thankful to you for it? Of course not. They're going to be very unhappy with the fact that the one most important decision in their life was made just because the parent did not allow them to choose otherwise. So it's not a great strategy, right? So educate, do not dictate. The other thing is be an example of whatever you wish to see in the other person. Say, for example, you want your children to talk well to you. You want your husband to be pleasant with you. Are you being pleasant first? It's so ironic. We want love from others, but the way we ask for it is so the opposite of love. I tell somebody, I want you to, I want your love. You're only mine. You're exclusively mine. I don't like it when you don't spend time with me. And I start sulking because you're not having tea with me. You're not having coffee with me. We're husband and wife. You're supposed to spend time. And I start sulking and I create a ruckus. Now, when I'm doing all this, is this the language of love? No, it's the language of power. I am trying to control the other person's actions by my emotions. Now, it is not going to work. If I want someone to sit and spend time with me and talk nicely to me, I have to be an attractive example of what I want to attract. I can't be an irritating, annoying, or a controlling example of what I want. I have to be a pleasant example of it. Imagine if you're being pleasant, if you're being wonderful, you'll obviously attract wonderful people in your life, isn't it? Anyone who's inside and out, pleasant and wonderful, will attract those kind of people in their lives. So see, what should you do to attract it for yourself rather than dictate terms to others? So first, be an example of what you wish to see. If you don't want your children to use gadgets, first follow it yourself. If you're always having the phone in the hand and the minute it buzzes, you just run to check who is it, what happened, oh my God, and you're spending time even before you sleep at night on your gadgets. Now, if you tell your children, forcibly, you may be able to take out the phone from their hands for maybe a few years. But once the power is back with them, you can't influence them. They're in fact going to do the exact opposite of what you've told them all these years, just for the sake of rebelling for the newfound freedom that they've discovered now. So power is not a great strategy. Respect the other person's space. Treat every individual as an individual. Don't treat them like as if they are your bonded slaves, that they have to listen to you, that they're here only to make you happy. No. No one is here in this world to make us happy. Only you are here to make yourself happy. Everybody else is here to make their own selves happy. In the process, somebody else around me can also benefit. But I have to take care of my happiness. Only when I can take care of my happiness, when I can be happy by myself, I can create happiness for you. If I'm a miserable soul, I cannot expect any magic in this world to happen which will make me feel suddenly happy. I have to find it from within, right? Don't try to send people to therapists and this and that forcibly. It's not going to work. If you are going to be controlling as a person towards the other person, the other person will obviously feel like running away from it. Sometimes they don't even have the will to live any longer because they feel their life is not in their hands. So avoid pushing somebody to that extent where they feel their life is not in their hands anymore. Give them the space, give them the freedom to choose what they want, to do what they want to do. Educate people, because every single person is ready to listen, provided, we're coming to the most important point, provided you have rapport with them. If you want to influence anyone, you've got to have rapport. If you have to have rapport, you have to be able to listen to the other person's perspective. Do not rub off your perspective on them without seeking to understand what makes them like what they do, right? So have rapport. Before an addiction happens, you know that addictions don't happen overnight, right? It takes time for a habit to form. It takes time for an addiction to form as well. It takes a good few weeks to months before somebody moves from a habit, from a small little, something that they do at the sidelines, from it to becoming a habit, from it to becoming an addiction. If you are trying to intervene when it has become an addiction or a habit, now what you're trying to do is wait till the entire mountain grows and break the entire mountain in one go in one day. Doesn't work. See that you have to intervene in a timely manner. You cannot intervene only when it has become a habit or an addiction. Much before that, observe and observe. See what people are doing. If you have your son or daughter at home and if you feel they're getting a little too much into something, try and find a productive way to get them out of it. You can't simply tell somebody, don't do that. You also have to give them something equally engaging on the other side, right? Because people are doing what they do because of boredom, because they don't feel entertained, because they want to have fun. So you need to understand what makes them do what they do and give them a beautiful substitute for this. You can't say, wait, I'm going to be on my phone, you please get off your gadgets. Why do you think anyone is going to listen to that? If someone has to listen to it, they need to know that you're invested. They need to know that you're willing to do something about it too. So always make sure that you have the time to spend with the other person. Do not demand things from others. You're not entitled for anyone to listen to you and follow your instructions, right? So try and see how can you educate them with rapport, understand what's their criteria, see if you can fulfill their criteria by you getting off your gadgets, spending time with them, giving them that love and attention, because love and attention is all that human beings require and seek at all points in time. And of course, a little bit of fun. If you've forgotten to have fun in life, you've forgotten the most important essence of life. So make sure you do something to have fun. Try and get over these power struggles and power games. Make sure that you are speaking a beautiful language of love so that you understand yourself, others understand you, and you exist in harmony with each other. So wishing you loving relationships ahead. This is Narmadarao, psychologist and NLP trainer from Master Yourself Academy, signing out.